In September of 2012, the Montgomery County government held a ceremony to honor residents who served in the Second World War.
I want to welcome you to a very special day as we honor more than 150 veterans of World War II who are here with us today, and remember the many who served America and the entire world 70 years ago.
To prepare for the event, a handful of World War II veterans who currently live in Montgomery County shared their stories for production crews.
For 13 days, we walked.
Their experiences spanned the globe, serving in the Army, Navy, Marines, Army Air Corps, and Merchant Marines. Evident in each interview is their patriotism, courage, work ethic, and modesty. This is truly a great generation. What follows is a compilation of their stories, beginning with Betty Prince Long Sims, one of the first women to serve as a Marine. In 1941, she was living in Iowa.
And I graduated from Liberal Arts College, Grinnell, and I got a job teaching music, English, and history in a little town called Tripoli, only they pronounced it Tripola. And I'm lying in my bed one Sunday, and I'm listening to the New York Philharmonic, and suddenly the announcer stops and said,
"We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii by air. President Roosevelt has just announced."
The next morning we got all our children and went into the all-purpose room and heard President Roosevelt give that famous speech.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
A red letter day, the most tragic date in the American history, when Japanese planes came off the carriers off the coast of Hawaii, bombed and torpedoed, sunk part of the American Navy, part of Hickam Field, the planes that were lying there in Hickam Field, and 2,000 American Navy seamen and airmen died that day. And America was shocked, angered, and so was I. I was sitting in the living room of my house in East Los Angeles, and I heard this horrifying news, and it was indeed shocking and surprising. So that at that time, if you were Japanese, you were the enemy. It didn't matter where you were. And of course, we were caught in that, having been second generation Japanese from our first generation parents.
At that time frame, I happened to be home from college and was with the Coleridge-Taylor Glee Club in Gary, Indiana. And when that announcement, it seems to, I remember somewhere around 4 something in the afternoon, came over the radio indicating that Pearl Harbor had been attacked by the Japanese. So we went on with our concert at the time, of course, not at that moment realizing what was coming.
And after that, everything changed.
Our salvage drives took on new meaning to us because our boys could have used the things we'd been wasting.
And we were all keeping foil. We were all getting tires retreaded. We were all building victory gardens. And cigarettes became very scarce. And I thought, I'm not going to teach music for 2 years while this war's going on. I have to go out, defend my country, you know.
And drilled and trained.
And I felt I had to play some part in the war. I mean, I don't want to sound brave or anything like that. It just, I felt it a duty, since a lot of the friends of mine were drafted.
I felt I wanted to do something for this country. They permitted us to come here. They saved our lives. I was born in Germany in a small town near Frankfurt, the southern part. I came to this country in 1933, shortly after Hitler came to power. The reason why we left was because we had been threatened, and the threat was carried through eventually when they picked up my father one night. And my mother went in quickly to call the police. We had 2 policemen in town. She came out a moment later. She was ashen. I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "The telephone wires have been cut through." And then all of a sudden, around 3 in the morning, sometime between 2 and 3, we heard a commotion downstairs. I heard Mr. Lopes say, "There he comes." My father could barely walk. I didn't recognize him. He was twice the size he had been, with bloody welts all over him. I found out later on that they had pulled out his nails, his hand nails and his foot nails. God knows what else they did to him. But thank God he recuperated, and we didn't go back home anymore.
I could see that Hitler had overrun Poland and all of Europe and was bombing England, and looked like we were going to be next. Might have been the reason, I don't know. But I just thought it was a thing to do. It wasn't any particular act of patriotism or anything. So I went down and enlisted and reported in at Fort Leavenworth.
I was living in Coney Island, New York at the time where I was born. And we had a group of about 6 to 8 fellows that used to do everything together. And the draft came on. They all got called. I didn't get called, so I got a job working for Navy Intelligence in downtown New York. Every evening almost, when I'd come home, these mothers would say to me, "Al, how come you're still here? And my boy's gone." Finally, after 1 year, I couldn't take it any longer. So I asked my father if he would mind if I went in. And he said, "If that's what you want to do, you do what you want."